Hello everyone, welcome back to Streed's Guide to Fraggle Rock. Today I'm reviewing Season 2, Episode 18, The Day the Music Died. This episode starts out quite tranquilly with Doc marveling at the birds' ebullient chirping. He then ponders the possibility of communicating with Sprocket and how he'd go about it, because we all know it's been well established that these two have absolutely no idea how to communicate, and this totally wasn't a half-baked, lazy idea for a Doc and Sprocket subplot. Meanwhile, Gobbo and Wembley are heading to the Great Hall to see the storyteller announce who's gonna write a glory song for a new cave cycle while something mysterious follows behind. The two arrive, and there's some funny banter between the world's oldest and the storyteller, till she finally announces who will write the glory song via the Gourd of Guidance.
Gobbo! Fraggle! The Gourd of Guidance has brought your name to the top. It's never been wrong yet.
Yeah, but...
Gobbo! 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 Gobbo!
Really, Madam Storyteller, I'm much more of an explorer than a writer.
We can all help Gobbo! Well, as long as you don't help him write the song.
Oh, no, we wouldn't do that, would we?
No.
This is a task he must undertake by himself.
Some time passes, and Gobbo's in his room trying and failing to come up with the lyrics for the glory song. However, Gobbo's concentration is impeded by all the incessant noise. Trust me, I know exactly how that feels. Suddenly, the others arrive, and Gobbo tells them to keep it down, and before I carry on, I'd just like to mention that in this scene, Wembley says,
Gee, Gobbo, we're sorry.
and you're probably wondering, why the hell am I quibbling over this? Well, some years ago, some retard on the news accused Fraggle Rock of using the obscure racial slur jigaboo, which takes the cake as the silliest sounding slur since dindu, both of which sound like Hostess snacks. Anyways, Wembley did in fact not say this. He said, "Gee Gobbo, we're sorry." As idiotic as this guy is, I'm gonna have to cast the majority of the blame on the news runners for reporting on such a misrepresented nothing of a story. Not that I'd expect any genuine truth to come from any news networks. The Fraggles misinterpret Gobbo's request and demand that everyone stop singing, while Gobbo still attempts to come up with the lyrics. We return to the Great Hall, and the Fraggles spread the word, and this scene overstays its welcome. Wembley enters the room, and Gobbo's still not having any luck with the lyrics, and in typical whimsical Wembley fashion, he attempts to help in his own Wembley-ish way.
Maybe a walk could loosen me up. Well, hey, no problem. I know a really loose way of walking.
We return to the Great Hall, and the Rock is mired in silence, with our main gang feeling quite unhappy with all the quiet. Wembley and Gobbo arrive, and all seems fine until the lights suddenly vanish.
What happened to the light?
It's gone. The light is gone.
Back in the workshop, Doc is still trying to foolishly communicate with Sprocket, and honestly, I don't find the subplot interesting at all. At least with the main plot, there's some things to talk about, but here, it's just a bit of a repetitive gag. Moving on, Gobbo hears the same haunting voice from earlier emanating from the darkness.
We are the Ditsies! That is our name!
But I thought Ditsy was just a nonsense word.
We have been trying to speak to you!
But we've never met you before.
We have never gathered to speak until now.
Well, that makes sense.
The glow of our bodies lights your caves. Now we are dying. We do not know why. We must save our strength. Help us! Help us!
The light spoke to us.
Naturally, after discovering this harrowing news, Gobbo is determined to solve the problem, and the storyteller recommends seeing the world's oldest in case he knows anything about Ditsies. To be honest, this isn't a great plan at all. Sure, the world's oldest is, well, old, but he's far beyond the point of senility, so I highly doubt he'd be of any help. Whatever the case, Gobbo and Wembley travel to his distant cave and discover that he's asleep, deeply asleep it seems. The two return, and upon arrival, the horrifying realization sets in that everyone's fallen asleep. With their only source of light going out, panicked, Gobbo drags the barely conscious Wembley to the Gourd's garden.
There it is. The light. The light.
We return to the workshop, and it's more of the same. Nothing of intrigue here. Back in the garden, Gobo tells the trash heap of their peril, and she gives them some good advice in the form of a groovy samba song.
Don't be shy, don't be lonely. No, don't go falling on the floor. What you need now is only do the stuff you've always done before. Do it. Well, tell him, boys. Oh, yeah. Everybody's got some problems of their own.
Oh, we got problems too.
Everybody gets the blues. If you take some good advice I got for you, take it, then you won't feel confused.
Afterwards, Gobo has no idea what the trash heap is trying to say, even though it's quite obvious, and Wembley suggests Gobo read a postcard from Uncle Matt. Matt discovers a minstrel played by the late great Philip Balsam, and he's charmed by his unique voice, joining in and singing along while imparting the episode's message that nothing is more important than music. Gobo plans to carry the Fraggles out one by one so the light wakes them up, and the two head in. Unfortunately, Wembley falls asleep and Gobo's not too far behind. Gobo sits down on the verge of giving up and begins singing a mournful tune. All seems hopeless until Gobo discovers that the Ditzies live on music, prompting him to sing more as the light slowly returns.
Music in the air, making brightness there. Learn to sing the golden sun to shine. I'd sing, shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me.
Now that the light has been restored, the storyteller proclaims Gobo's song is the brand new glory song, and everyone celebrates. We return to the workshop, and Doc realizes the obvious, that him and Sprocket have been communicating the entire time.
We proved that the best way for us to communicate is being just the way we are.
This is an episode I have a great amount of nostalgia for, but that doesn't mean it's immune to criticism. Upon rewatch, this entry is very flawed. Before I go over my criticisms with this episode, I think it's fair to mention what I genuinely enjoyed about this entry first. For one thing, I found the atmosphere to be very disquieting and eerie. That's probably this episode's greatest strength, besides its enjoyable songs. It's weird to think that Fraggle Rock's greatest songs, such as Shine On Me, came from such a lackluster entry. I think the episode's biggest weakness has to be its pacing and lack of substance for a story. As much as it hurts to say, I found this entry bordering on the dull side. For lack of a better term, it's what I'd call comfortably dull. The kind of gray area dullness that comes from a piece of media that's not entirely boring, but not entirely exciting. Yet it's still enjoyable in a way due to its nostalgic value. Like I mentioned previously, I didn't care for the Doc subplot either. There's some issues with character writing as well. It's not too egregious, but I thought Gobo was overtly dense in this episode. The trash heap's advice was quite simple, alarmingly simple in fact, so Gobo really should have understood what to do a lot quicker than he did. There's also not really much of a message to this episode either. I don't really have much else to say. This was the epitome of a filler entry. It's far from the worst. I don't actively dislike it, just feels like a meandering episode you'd turn on to fall asleep to at 5 a.m. I'm going to give this episode a middling yet comfortably passable mushroom. Well guys, that was the review, and I will see you all next time.